though that they're both, they both look really similar. Both of these foundations are beautiful. They sit on the skin beautifully. I don't feel oily. This is good stuff. Today is day one of a multiple day wear test. We're going to be checking out the new Lady Gaga Haus Labs foundation and also the Hourglass Soft Glow foundation. I have this one in 260 and the Hourglass in shade 8. Let's get started with the application of the Lady Gaga foundation. This one is $48, has 1 fluid ounce. I have shade 260. The coverage is a medium coverage. They claim that it is buildable. The finish, I'm very surprised that they didn't specify it in their site unless I really missed something, but I believe it's a natural finish. Let's see, regarding the claims, infused with our proprietary fermented arnica that helps reduce redness and helps even skin tone. Supposedly this formula took them 2 years to perfect. It's a Korean formula. Ultra comfortable long wear performance, weightless serum-like texture seamlessly blurs and smooths for a natural, oh there we go, okay, so for a natural luminous finish that wears all day. No slipping and no caking. So how are we doing so far? I like the finish. It is indeed a natural. It's not too glowy. It's a bit dewy. I think that that'll go down with powder. I am going to try to build it more on my cheek to cover up my dark spots. After all, it is supposed to be buildable. And this time around, we're applying it with a brush. Tomorrow, we'll apply it, both of them, with a sponge. Normally, with a brush application, you get more coverage, and with a sponge, you get more of a sheer coverage. I do like the finish and I do like the coverage so far. Drawing a line of demarcation here halfway. And there it is. What else do they say about this foundation? There's a total of 51 shades. That is awesome. So there's bound to be a shade for everyone. Super cool. Also for the Haus Labs, it has 20 plus skincare ingredients, including our patent, oh yeah, the arnica that I mentioned already. Again, like we've been seeing in a lot of recent launches, there is skincare in there as well. And this is no exception. Now on this side, go ahead and get started with the Hourglass foundation. As my base, I did have moisturizer, and I think this I'm gonna include it in my favorites this month. I have the Dermalogica moisturizer. It's called Dynamic Skin Recovery. I'm really liking this moisturizer. It doesn't leave a white cast, and my skin really does feel hydrated. The makeup does not peel over it. So that is a good moisturizer. That is everything I have on. Now moving on to the Hourglass I've been talking about. Again, the consistency is not runny. I think it might be slightly thicker than the Haus Labs, but just very slightly. Let's get a clean brush. This foundation is $58 versus the $45 for the Haus Labs. So this one is more expensive. Same amount of product, 1 ounce. The shade I have is 8. It comes in 32 shades. Finish is natural. Soft glow finish, they say. Regarding coverage, it's also supposed to be medium coverage. So we have a lot of similarities here between both foundations. They're both medium coverage. They're buildable. They have a natural finish. First, I am going in with a thin layer that I plan to build on my cheeks. So here on the sides of the nose, color up that redness. So let's go in again on this area of the cheek. Let's see what the claims for the Hourglass foundation look like here. Antioxidants help protect against free radicals infused with white tea extract and vitamin E. infused with blurring spheres that provide a light diffusing effect, minimizing the look of imperfections. Long wearing, weightless, also vegan and cruelty free. 16-hour wear, and it claims to be wear resistant. That's interesting. 16-hour wear and transfer resistant. Haus Labs does not claim to be transfer resistant. A lot of emphasis on it being blurring. I do feel that they're both, they both look really, really similar. The finish, buildability, coverage, I think Haus Labs it does have slightly better coverage. This time around, day one, we are not going to set it with powder. And we didn't use a primer underneath either. So I just had moisturizer on, then we went on with the foundation, and we're not gonna set them just to see how they perform on their own. Tomorrow we will be setting them with translucent powder. It's now 11:32 in the morning. I'll see you in a few hours when we do our first midday check-in. All right, here we go, second check-in. We have Haus Labs on this side, Hourglass on this side. It's been 6 hours since I first applied these foundations. We did half of the face with this one, half of the face with Hourglass, and this is good stuff. I mean, I am not seeing any, let me pull up my mirror, my magnifying mirror. I am not seeing a difference really. Meaning that I don't see my oils coming through whatsoever. Regarding the finish, I would call it a natural finish. It's not dewy. It's a little glowy, but I don't feel that I would need to powder. Now remember, we did not use any primer before applying the foundation, nor did we use any powder to set it afterwards. So this is how they've performed so far without any help. Granted, I've been in the house all day. We have a little hurricane going on right now, so I did not step outside. And that is why we're doing multiple day wear tests, right? So that there will be other days where I'm out and about running errands. But I have been in front of studio lights, these big bright lights, all day, and I do get hot. I do turn on the ceiling fan, and I still look like my oils are under control. They don't look makeup-y at all. They're not accentuating my pores, my texture. Another thing that I'm super happy about is that they are not settling into my smile lines. This eye, well, both eyes look super funky because I was playing with some duochromes today, and I thought I'll just do a good job of removing all of the eye makeup that shouldn't interfere too much with our test going on here. But it turns out that I had a little bit of fallout, which I did not want to remove so that I wouldn't remove the foundation that's lying underneath. If you disregard those areas around the eyes, the foundations are performing incredibly well. Let's do a tissue test. 2 clean tissues. All right. So we do see a tiny bit. I don't know if you can even see it on camera. This side transferred, let me see here. Oh, it's just such an insignificant difference, but you do see that Haus Labs did leave a mark here. And I wouldn't even call it a mark, it's just traces of foundation, but you saw how hard I pressed on my cheeks. I'm thrilled with them. We are gonna try it with primer underneath tomorrow, and we are gonna powder them tomorrow as well. I will only do a check-in again in a few hours before I get ready to go to bed if I see a difference, but I don't anticipate that I will. Anyway, I'm so impressed, so excited so far with these two guys. It's the end of day check-in, and these foundations are looking really, really good, just like they did yesterday. One thing to note, and I'm pleasantly surprised that, like I mentioned, I have some peeling going on right there, and right there from the retinol I used last night. It was a little bit too strong. So you can clearly see that there's skin that's starting to come off, yet the foundation seems to, on both sides, just sat over it very, almost I want to say gently. It didn't make it worse. It didn't make it look gunky and clumped up and textury. It just sat over that peeling skin in peace and just let it be. I do see that the foundation started to separate around this smile line. Very mild separation though. I mean, this kind of separation is something that I would kind of just dab away with my finger, but we do not see any settling on this side, which is the Hourglass. Don't look at the under eye. That is a different concealer that I've got going on there. The forehead, texture in the forehead looks the same on both sides. I don't think that the primer necessarily make my pores look smoother. I don't think necessarily that the powder made the foundation last longer than it would on its own. Oh, and we also put some of the spray. I feel like this is what we saw last night. Both of these foundations are beautiful. They sit on the skin beautifully. I don't feel oily. I can't touch my face. Let me see if there's one that's slightly tackier. No, they feel identical. They're a 10 out of 10. Both of them. They're looking beautiful. I highly recommend them. These foundations, mind you, I have not had a facial nor a chemical peel or a laser in over a year. So my skin is not currently in its best shape. I imagine that if you have facials done regularly and the foundation doesn't have to kind of deal with all of these dryness issues per se, that it would look even better. I thought this would be cool, just to take off a little bit, run a stripe of makeup remover down my cheek to see just all the coverage that this foundation is providing. So that's cool. Wow, look at all of this discoloration here that was covered before. Pretty cool. That's it for today. I love them. 2 thumbs up for both of them. This is now day 3 of the wear test, and today we're going to actually test how makeup wears on top of these foundations. For day 1 and day 2, I did not put any makeup on top of the foundations, meaning no bronzer, no blush, nothing except for the powder on day 2. But this time I am going to do a full face of makeup. I'm super curious to see how the makeup will look by the end of the day. Hopefully the bronzer and the blush that I'll put on will sit wonderfully on top of these foundations. Let's get started. For primer, I'm going to use this one from Clarins. It's called Instant Smooth Perfecting Touch, and it is a pore filling primer. I'm only going to use it around the areas where I feel that my pores are the most visible. We saw from day 1 that really a primer is not necessary, at least not on my skin, in order for the foundations to look good or to last long. So I'm just concentrating this primer around this part of my cheeks and a little bit on the chin, and of course on the nose. Work it into the pores. Primer, we give the primer a few minutes. I'm gonna put on the foundations. Recording just foundation application, which I'm going to speed up in post. So let's see how the makeup is looking at the end of day 3. We can clearly see that one side is looking shiny around the nose and also around the cheek area, while the other side, the Hourglass side, is still looking fantastic at the end of the day. Which brings me to my next question. What if I had paired the Haus Labs foundation with the Haus Labs loose powder? Well, that's a test for another day. Actually, that would be a good idea for a short. I will link it down below in the description box once I film it. Overall, my final thoughts are that both of these foundations are excellent. Lovely finish, but the Hourglass Ambient Glow is the winner because it kept my oils in check all day. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.